Hello, my name is Adam Sininsky, and this is my study entitled The Lion Drinks Tonight, The Effects of Alcohol and Negative Affect, an associative study on college students. Just the overview will meet me, and then we'll do the abstract, introduction, current study, hypothesis and claim, method, participants, procedures, measured, statistical analysis, results, discussion, and then the limitations and future applications. My name is Adam Sininsky. I am a junior at USF studying psychology with plans to attend law school hopefully in the future. The qualifications that make me qualified to talk about this is being taught research methods under the expert tutelage of Dr. Marina Bornovalova and Miss Jordan Martin. The study was basically how does drinking alcohol correlate to overall negative affect in college students? So based on the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, 54.9% of college students drink alcohol. Drinking has become commonplace on college campuses around the country. 142 participants started this study, all registered for the research methods course in the spring of 2021. A baseline survey was given to all participants in the beginning. Following completion of the baseline survey, then a daily survey was emailed and completed by all students for a total of 4 months. On my study, it was found using a linear regression that there was a weak positive correlation between drinking alcohol and negative affect, and future studies must be conducted to further determine the correlation under circumstances with drinking aged participants. I didn't realize until I spoke with Dr. B that most of the participants were under drinking age, which didn't pop into my head. Here's the introduction. So alcohol is a sedative hypnotic drug. In large doses it acts as a sedative, and in small doses it acts as a stimulant. That's information I obtained from the CDC, the Center of Disease Control, in Atlanta. Negative affect is defined as a general psychological state involving negative moods and emotions. Again, through the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, a standard drink in America consists of 14 grams of pure alcohol, which is equivalent to 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Past research has suggested that drinking alcohol on college campuses is more likely than not, and that's from Crunchy and many other authors of that research study. Around 90% of alcohol consumed by people under 21 years of age is in the form of binge drinking, and that's from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the USDA. A study suggests that close to 50% of students have felt a type of negative behavior, whether it be sadness, anxiety, anger, or loneliness, and that's again from Crunchy. Or Krantz, I don't know how exactly it's pronounced, but another study done in Norway concluded that social drinkers, especially the day after drinking, experience negative emotions such as shame, guilt, and embarrassment, which in my mind would absolutely affect the college students, especially if there's testing or studying to be done or whatever the case may be. The current study participants include 142 students currently registered for the research methods class, research methods of psychology at the University of South Florida. There was another assignment available for those who did not give informed consent, did not want to participate in this. The compensation given was class credit. Again, a baseline survey was given to all participants, which had a multitude of questions to determine demographics, positive and negative affect, employment satisfaction, sleep, COVID-19 factors, alcohol consumption, and others. Then again, the daily survey was emailed to all participants that completed the baseline survey, And the daily survey was used then to extract data for my study, which was alcohol consumption, negative affect, and then daily COVID-related matters, sleep, and more. My hypothesis, the null hypothesis, was when the measures of alcohol consumption is high, it will have no effect on negative affect of college students. The alternative hypothesis was that when the measure of alcohol consumption is high, it will negatively correlate with the mood and emotional well-being of college students. This will be an association claim. There is a correlation between alcohol consumption and negative affect of college students, or is there a correlation? Excuse me. So this was the method. The participants, it was a 4-month study. Eligible participants were college students taking research methods at the University of South Florida. The total number of participants at the beginning of the study was 142. At the conclusion, there were 137 participants. Here is a demographic breakdown. Age range 17 to 44 years of age. The mean age was 20.56 years, standard deviation of 3.79. Minimum age was 17, max was 44. 79.6 reported as female, 17.6 reported as male, and 2.8 were either genderqueer or non-binary or did not choose to answer. The participants were of all class standing. 45.1% reported as juniors, 33.1% reported as sophomores, 14.8% reported as freshmen, and 7% reported as seniors. Diverse ethnic background in this study, 69.7% reported as not of Hispanic Latinx origin, 30.3% reported as Hispanic or Latinx. Race was also diverse, with 58.5% reporting as white, 18.3% were missing, reported as Hispanic or Latinx in the ethnic background question. 9.2% were black or African American. 6.3% reported as Asian. 4.9% were either multiracial, and 2.8% either did not answer or were missing from this particular question. Here are the basic procedures. So the baseline survey allowed for data to be compiled on the demographics, the 10-item personality inventory, the Big 5 inventory, and that was reverse coded, and then the MFQ as well. The daily survey sent through the email upon completion of the baseline and was to be completed for 7 days a week for 4 months. Credit was contingent on completing 80% of the daily surveys. The first time points used to calculate reliabilities, such as response rate, test, retest, and Cronbach's alpha, were January 26th and February 2nd. Excuse me. The PANAS scale was used to supply a negative affect score and used to run test, retest, Cronbach's alpha, and the linear regression. Measures. So test, retest was used to determine the reliability of the dependent variable negative affect. Test, retest result for negative affect was 0.085. A low internal consistency was expected as mood is constantly changing. And in past research, the PANAS test was shown to have good reliability, and that's from Wang. Cronbach's alpha was also used to determine internal consistency of the PANAS scale, and the numbers were 0.89 for positive affect and 0.93 for negative affect. The consistency was identical to a previous study, hence Cronbach's alpha is a good predictor of reliability. The dependent variable in the study was alcohol consumption, and test-retest was also used to determine its reliability. Test-retest results for alcohol consumption was 0.49. Watkins and Portney revised test-retest values and their determination as 0.5 to 0.75 report a moderate, 0.75 to 0.9 were good, and above 0.9 were acceptable for clinical measures, and that's from Matheson. So basically, my test-retest for alcohol consumption was under poor, and the test-retest for negative affect is same. Let's see here. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so here are the results. The descriptive results for the first 2 weeks, week of January 26th and February 2nd. The mean negative affect score was 16.73 and 16.09 respectively. Mean alcohol consumption was 0.30 and 0.33 for the 2 weeks. Standard deviation was 1.06 and 1.20 again for the 2 weeks. For the first week, the minimum was 0 and the maximum was 9. For the second week, the minimum was 0 and the max was 10. 95% confidence level. The confidence interval for week 1 was 0.12, and week 2 confidence interval was 0.13. The final descriptive results out of 137 participants, the mean for negative affect was 17.75, plus or minus 0.99, which gives us a confidence interval of 16.76 through 18.74, with a standard deviation of 5.88. The minimum for negative affect score was 10, and the maximum negative affect score was 34 at the end of the study. The mean for alcohol consumption at the end of the study was 2.86, plus or minus 0.6, which gives us a confidence interval of 2.26 through 3.46, and the standard deviation was 3.55. At the end, the minimum alcohol consumption was 0, and the max was 22. Primary results. So a simple linear regression was used, running Excel with a confidence level of 95%. The association between alcohol and negative affect was 0.1, that was the multiple R, which showed a weak positive relationship between alcohol and negative affect. It shows that alcohol alone is not a good predictor in determining overall negative affect in college students. And based on the p-value of 0.24 and the significance F of 24%, another variable definitely should have been used in this study. The limitations of this study, I'm going to just do that, is basically many possible confounds in this study. There was a lot of, if people were faking good or faking bad, if people were, if things happened to them in their lives which could have affected their mood in a negative way, just COVID-19, again, that's why more variables should have been used. Knowing what I know now versus then, I would have made the study completely different. Multiple variables should have been used to determine negative affect. The lack of prior research on this topic. Everything is about binge drinking or alcohol consequences or sexual consequences. There is nothing about moderate, not nothing, but there's very few research articles on moderate drinking and how it affects students emotionally, without, we're talking about without DUIs and consequences. Now, with the amount of underage college students in this study, a proper assessment could not be done. Knowing again what I know now after talking to Dr. B, I definitely would have chosen 2 completely different variables. Most of the people in this study were underage. That doesn't mean they don't drink. It just means that they're not going to drink the same, or they might not report it. So again, that's the possibility that the participants were either faking good or faking bad, to either impress the teacher or to just prove a point or whatever it is. It just made it for a very, not difficult in the sense of running the analysis, but just difficult in the sense of, getting poor results. And here are my references. And I want to thank you guys very much for listening, and I hope you have a great summer, and good luck on your finals.